Welcome to the Misfit One Lifestyles with Elizabeth Colin. She will awaken and connect with your Misfit One. Are you tired of the ups and downs in your life? Are you ready to live a healthy lifestyle once and for all? We are talking about all aspects of your life. Being fit is not just physical, it's also your mind and soul. Learn how to take steps in your life to move towards your goals. Elizabeth's goal is for everyone listening to the sound of her voice to get fit. Let's get focused, let's get intentional, and let's transform. Now here's your host, Elizabeth Colin.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Misfit One Lifestyles with your girl, Elizabeth Colin, also known as Misfit One. I am so excited about our guest today because sound is something that is so important to our health. Yes, I said it. Sound is important to our health. And I'm not just saying it. I have Miss Liz Cooper here to back me up on that. How you doing, Liz?
I'm really well. Thank you, Elizabeth. And thank you for having me on your wonderful show.
Oh, it is all my pleasure. Listen, for those of you guys who do not know her, she is the director of the British Academy of Sound Therapy, which is BAST, right?
That's it.
And it is so important because it has been around. It was like the first training established for sound and voice therapy. Is that correct?
That's right. Yes. Although you know, like a lot of these things, they're very ancient traditional approaches, like a lot of holistic therapies, but they're being remembered. So we were, although we're not the first sound therapists that ever existed, we were the first to formalize sound therapy training courses. Yeah.
And let's talk about that because I started off by saying that it is important to our health. Can you talk to us a little bit about this? Because I am fascinated. I am so fascinated about this. How sound can be significant in your health, and how can that? How does that happen? What does that look like, Liz?
Well, it's multifaceted. So there's all different kinds of ways you can approach sound, and I think that's what makes it so exciting and so versatile. And also there's a little bit of magic still big, which is always lovely in life, isn't it? Because we don't fully completely understand everything yet about how sound and music affects us so deeply. So we're still looking deeper and deeper into the brain and wiring people up to various different kind of biomeasuring devices and things just to find out exactly how we respond. But basically, we've been hardwired to respond to sound and music in different ways way back before we were humans, really, like a pre-hominid species. So very much like animals, we'd have been really in tune with our environment. We'd have been listening out for predators, for other people that may want to attack us, for really positive sounds as well from our environment. So as a result of these very ancient kind of, if you like, hard wirings in our ancestral DNA, we respond to sound in certain ways. So high pitches tend to stimulate us. So if it goes way back to listening for animal calls, alarm calls, for example, that may have warned us that there was something coming. So we give ourselves a little shot of adrenaline when we hear a high, especially a sudden high-pitched sound. And that's
okay. Wait.
Yeah.
I listen, now I'm like, I have questions, Liz.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so when you say a sudden high-pitched sound, an example is what, like a scream or
Absolutely, that screams, babies crying,
Right.
the alarm that gets you out of bed in the morning if you've got a traditional alarm, police sirens, all of those are, there's no accident that they're pitched within a particular frequency range. And that's because of those very ancient, the wiring that we had in those very ancient times that made our ears very sensitive within those frequency bands. So when we hear those high pitched sounds, it calls us to action. Now, on the other side of the coin, low pitched sounds relax. Right. So if you were, let's say we're trekking through the Himalayas together and we see a beautiful temple ahead of us, and we can hear this wonderful chanting just kind of wafting through the mountains. And we go up to the temple and we can hear some monks chanting Om. So it's always a deep, low sound, long, low sounds. You never hear Om, you never hear the very high sounds. And that's because those low sounds soothe us. So if we want to soothe a baby, we tend to slow our voice down. In tempo, we tend to talk a little bit more in a lower way, and so long, low sounds relax us. So that's just one little aspect of how sound can affect us quite in a very primal way. Obviously, we know a lot more than that now, but the basis of that is rooted in modern day therapeutic sound and music.
That is so fascinating to me, because when I talk about wellness, I talk about wellness in every aspect, right? Not just what we eat or how we exercise, but I always talk about what we see and what we hear also really affect our environment. I know songs really, really get me. I mean, I am very much affected by music. So if it's a rap or something mean, I'm mad. Like, I'm mad now. Like, yeah, I could do this. Like, but if it's fun and happy, I'm happy. Or if it's sad, and maybe I'm just so easily swayed. I just thought about that.
Well, you're not. Honestly, you're not the only one. There's thousands. I mean, we've done studies. We did a very large study for a music streaming platform called Deezer, who wanted to drill down into, this psychology of music, and you're not the only one. The studies showed that many people use music as medicine. And more often than not, it's what's in your playlists and what you find when you're listening to Spotify, if they send you new and different things to listen to. So it's not just tone, it's also rhythm. So rhythm drives us. And again, this is something that goes way, way back to our roots, where we would have, so a little bit later than our pre-hominid species we've just spoken about. So when we started to actually walk on two legs and form community groups and so on, is a really good way of community bonding, was to move in sync with each other. So whether that was through music making or being out in the fields, cutting crops, or marching to find water, and songs would happen and people would fall into step. And that coming into sync, which is what we do when we dance now, we're dancing to a rhythm, right? Is really good for forming those really strong bonds, societal bonds, community, and improving our mood state. So when you listen to a piece of music, do you ever get goosebumps?
Oh, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
It's,
so
yeah.
so that is a sign that you've given yourself a little shot of dopamine, which is a positive chemical. And so that good feeling when you're listening to the music and those goosebumps, it's actually giving you those really lovely, rewarding chemicals.
Liz, I am so in awe because I feel music is important, but I love how you said earlier, and I want to kind of go back to that, how people can use music as medicine.
Mm.
How do they do that?
Well, we are actually really good at it naturally, right? So if we do a little experiment here now,
Let's
let's
do it.
say let's do it. So let's say you're getting ready to go out on the town, you're getting your outfit on and preparing yourself. Would you listen to uh, whale music and relaxing meditation music, or would you listen to your favorite dance track? What would you do?
Of course, I'm gonna put on some Bruno Mars. We just to get moving.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Yeah, we gonna
Absolutely.
dance, and that is so funny. As soon as you was asking that question, I was going back in my head because I do that to hype myself up to go. Like, all right, let's get, because I'm like, oh, I don't want to go. Put some music on. And when I put music on, now I'm like putting my makeup on and feeling good.
Yeah.
So that is so fun.
Yeah. So we do it naturally. It sounds so obvious, but it's because it's so everyday that we don't really think about it. But we all do it. It's like if you've had a really stressful day at work, you just really want to chill out, you're going to put something low tempo, maybe not even has much lyrical content, something a bit more kind of chill out, that kind of music. And so we do it naturally now. But what we've done at the academy is we've sort of broken down what I call those sonic vitamins.
Yeah.
So there's little properties that we can actually harness those because of that, this ancient way that we've learned to move to music over thousands of years. And so we have two approaches. One is sound therapy, which is pure sound. So we've just taken those properties, broken them down into their very essence, and we use those to help improve health and well-being as a treatment. So you'd come to a sound therapist, they would ask you what you wanted to work on, so whether it's pain or anxiety or whatever it was, and they'd put together a sonic prescription for you, which would be just with pure sounds that takes you on a journey. And the other approach is by actually, again, harnessing these properties, but putting them into what we call consciously designed music, which are music journeys, which for some people are more maybe easier listening. Maybe you can just put them on and you can feel them working on mind, body and emotions, but you don't have to go and have a treatment as such, but it will still work in a very similar way.
Okay. Oh, I listen, I know all of y'all who are listening today is like, what? Because this is so fascinating to me. Seriously, it's one of the things that, like you said, we do it naturally, but I am just blown away at the fact that you can use this as a prescription to actually help with anxiety, pain. Now I can see anxiety, because that makes sense, but I wouldn't have never thought of it as a pain release or to listen to music. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because that's like, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. So with both pure sound therapy and music, we've had really good results with the research that we've done with chronic pain. So one example was we had one of our graduates was working in a cancer care facility, and she was just doing a piece of research in this facility, and people were reducing their medication. They were feeling as though, even if they were at the end of life, their mood state was being improved. So basically the again, going back to these kind of ancient, the ways that sound drives mind, body, and emotions. So we've developed our method to induce something called an altered state of consciousness, which is like a very deep, relaxed state. So if you go to a sound therapist which uses this approach, either through music or sound therapy, you'll go into this, if they're using the sound in the right way, shall we say, or in the way to induce an altered state, because there's many different ways to use sound. But we've sort of developed a method where we take people into a very, that lovely kind of warm, fuzzy feeling that you get just before waking up properly, or just as you go to sleep. So that
Right.
lovely between the worlds place. Now, in that state of altered consciousness, there's all kinds of positive health benefits that can happen. So there's some cellular renewal that can take place, blood pressure lowers, heart rate reduces, muscle tension releases, mood state can improve, as we said, through dopamine, for example, cortisol can reduce. So if your pain, which a lot of people's pain is based on stress and tension, in the mind and in the body, then it stands to reason that if you relax that tension, it may well help with the pain.
Okay, how do we connect with you? How do we stay connected? Because this is mind-blowing to me.
Well, find me at the British Academy of Sound Therapy. Send me an email. We've got Life Sonics, which is a brand new music medicine platform we're really excited about.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So basically it's you can get your own sonic prescription. So you can just sign on, you can tell us how you're feeling, tell us how you'd like to feel, and we will give you between 1 and 4 consciously designed music pieces, so music medicine pieces that will take you on a journey to help you with what you've said you needed help with.
Now, how do we get that? Where do we go? Is
So
it a website?
again, there will be, so it's launching soon. We're just in the beta testing phase at the moment, so we're very excited about it. So it'll be brand new and hot off the press.
Yes,
when you get in touch with us. So the best thing to do is to email the British Academy of Sound Therapy. So it's just mail at British Academy of Sound Therapy.com, and that's it. Just get in touch and say hi and tell us how you feel, what you'd like. I've got some pieces of music on Spotify, so if you find Liz Cooper, that's LYZ Cooper on Spotify, there's some consciously designed music on there. Let us know how you feel, and when you listen to the pieces, what's your favorite piece? I'd love to hear from you.
I just am. I'm going on there as soon as we get off this, because sound is a state of well-being. I really believe that it alters your state of well-being in so many ways, and I'm picking up what you're saying, because I say music and you say sound. And I'm like, yes, I get what you're saying. So there is a difference.
Well, there is.
And
there
music.
Is.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry to cut across you then. There absolutely is. I mean, a good way of thinking about it is music is just organized sound, really. So it's sound that's been organized into rhythm and melody and so on. In sound therapy, we strip back the music, so it's a lot more simple and less complex. In music medicine, it's more complex. That's basically the difference.
Right. So when we say sound, like everybody know the gong, right? Or the whale sound, or what's that, the horn, the gong, I that's what I think of when I hear of sound. Now, it has to be more than that, right? What is like the sound when you say is how they take it from, just this and put it in um, content for music? Can you kind of break down like what sound you guys use, the sounds?
Yeah, I mean, there's all different kinds of sounds, and you're absolutely right. The gong is one of the instruments we use.
That's
So
all I could think of.
so you may well have, so especially if you have pain in the body, because the gong is, we've had really good results with MS, with arthritis, with mobility problems, with chronic pain in the body using gong therapy. And so what we do is we put you in what we call a gong sandwich. So you have a technical term. There's a gong at one end, at the foot end of the treatment table, and then there's a gong at the head end of the treatment table, and you lay in the middle. And what happens is because the gong is a massive instrument, and you can
Yes.
feel how it moves the air and moves all the molecules as it plays, and so you can literally feel it rippling up and down your body. It's just amazing. It's an amazing thing to have.
I
So
want a gong sandwich. Like, how have I been missing this my whole life?
we can put you in a wonderful gong sandwich. Just come over to the UK.
I would love that. And okay, so I'm kind of getting to understand this so much more, because again, I envision that you're just listening to something. But what I just heard you say, Liz, is that it's actually a feeling, a vibration, a movement that you actually feel in your body. Is that correct?
It can be all of those things.
Right.
So certain sounds, because again of that ancient wiring, affect us in different ways. So the gong, for example, is very complex harmonically. So there's lots of different sounds happening at the same time when you play it. And because it's such a physical instrument, it's very good for soothing the physical body.
Wow.
So, I mean, anybody that's ever been to a concert and that stood anywhere near a speaker will feel the sound in their body beating. And so
Right.
it's not a big step to think, well, it's not just bass sounds we can feel in our body, it's other sounds as well. So they can be very soothing. It's like a sonic massage, if you like. And so as well as that, it's also what the sound is doing to the brain. So long sounds, long, low sounds relax the brain and can help to alter the brain waves. So they go into a lower brainwave frequency that's very similar to a deep meditation. And in that deep meditation, as I said before, there's all those lovely health benefits. So the way that we put our treatments together takes the person on a journey, depending on what they want their outcome is, their intended outcome for the session. So whether it's pain or anxiety, helping with sleep, for example, is the therapist will design their sonic prescription to suit what the intended therapeutic outcome is for the person. I mean, of course, there's never any guarantees.
Of
not
course.
everything is right for everybody. So, but we do our best, and most of the time we recommend that people have 4 treatments. That's once a week once a week for 4 weeks, and that will give the therapist time to get to know the client and vice versa, and how they respond to sound. But it's not just gong. I mean, we can use crystal singing bowls, which are beautiful, pure tone. They're very angelic sounding. They're made from quartz crystal, and they can be very, very good for very deep relaxation. So they're really good for helping with anxiety, for nurturing a person, so people who are going through grief, for example, and also for helping with sleep.
You know, I am just sitting here thinking, you know, where have you been my whole life? And I cannot wait to connect with you more. And I know that's what everybody is thinking. So in order to reach out to you, it's the email at mail at
Mail at britishacademyofsoundtherapy.com or info@lizcooper.com. So that's LYZ Cooper.com.
this is so perfect. And I just wanted you to kind of recap. If you can give us 3 things that we could do in order to improve our, like you said, the stress, the anxiety, and sleep. What are kind of 3 sounds or music composing things that we could do?
Okay, there's a couple of really simple ones. One's called Sonic Caffeine, and the other one's called Sonic Hot Chocolate. And they are little little tips that we can do really easily based on these sort of the way the brain responds to sound. So Sonic Caffeine is brilliant anytime, because it's not always just about relaxing us or for sleep. Sometimes we need to concentrate. Sometimes we might be tired and we need to be on our game. Maybe we're going into an important meeting, for example. So Sonic Caffeine, use a high pitch, because we remember from before, high pitches stimulate. And you can do it with your own voice. So an E sound is really good for vibrating. So when we go E, you can actually, if you put your hand on the top of your head at the same time, you can actually feel your head vibrating. So do you want to try this?
I want to try it. I got my hand on top of my head, and I am going to say E. Oh, I feel that. Oh my God. So this is what everybody is feeling when they say Elizabeth.
Absolutely. And my birth name is Elizabeth as well. So when they say when they say my long name, then yeah. So a couple of minutes, if your brain is feeling tired, you need to concentrate, then a couple of minutes, you don't have to put your hand on your head, but just take yourself somewhere, fairly high, mid to high pitch to really clarify the mind. It's great first thing in the morning after you wake up. Sonic Hot Chocolate. So at the end of the day, you want to wind down, you just want to switch off, or if you're feeling really stressed, R is a good sound. It's the sound that we make when we, so if it's a loving sound. So often when we see something that we love, it's like, oh,
yeah.
Yeah. So it's the sound of the heart. So R is a nice vowel sound. It's nice and open, and we want a lowish pitch. So something like that. And just keep that going for a few minutes. Close your eyes, and maybe 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
That's quite low, yeah, or a little bit higher, whatever's comfortable. You may feel the sound vibrating.
I do. I feel it. I feel it moving within. I am doing my my Sonic coffee in the morning and my hot chocolate at night.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Liz. How do you start your day?
Well, that's a really good question. I actually have normal coffee as well as my Sonic caffeine. and then I check in with the team and make sure they're all okay, because we've got a wonderful team here at the Academy. But usually I do something called polyvagal breathing. So I use my voice, which is the third technique, which is really, really good. It's not necessarily a sound technique, but you can bring sound into it. which is basically making sure that your exhale is longer than your inhale. So you could inhale for the count of 3, for example, and exhale for the count of 5.
Okay.
Yeah, so in through the nose, out through the mouth. Now, what that does is that switches off the fight flight. And it's really, really good for resetting the nervous system. And it's so when we wake up in the morning, naturally, our cortisol levels are higher. So some people feel quite stressed in the mornings, and they've got lots of things, thinking of all the stuff they've got to do. So polyvagal breathing, but if you bring a sound in with it, it makes it even more effective. So as you're breathing out, you make a sound almost like the sea. It's called the ocean or Ujjayi breath. So it's like you're breathing in and you're just making that kind of slightly constricted sound. That's my 3 top sound related tips for anybody to get through life.
This is so incredible. I appreciate you so much for coming on and enlightening all of us with sound and how it is so important for our health and how we can implement it. And we're definitely reaching out to you. So I am ready to get my little subscriptions.
Oh, and thank you. It's so lovely to hear. I'm really glad you've enjoyed our session today.
This was great. And again, you guys, make sure you connect with her, and then we'll meet next week. Until then, live fit. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Misfit One Lifestyles. Listen, when you are fed up and sick and tired of living this stifled, overwhelmed, and overstressed life, and you're ready to live the fullest, richest, and healthiest life by gaining more confidence, more energy, and more clarity, living in your best self, you know what to do, right? Go ahead, go to my website, misfit1.com. Sign up for our online courses, Creating Healthy Habit, so that you too can live fit, focus, move with intention, and transform your life.